I'm live. Hello, my beautiful Globetrotters. It's so good to jump on here. I had to clean my office for you all, and poor Laura had to get boosted out of the office, but that's okay. I just thought it was a really good opportunity, to get online and speak to anyone that has been literally lurking on our website for a while, whether you've discovered us when, in lockdown with COVID, or you've been, on our website for the last 2 years, but haven't had that confidence, or the stars haven't aligned for you to actually jump in and book a riding holiday. And I feel like it can be really daunting as well. We've got like over 40 rides on our website, which we've personally road tested and know them intimately, like, down to the names of the horses and, and the guides. So it can be daunting as to where to ride first, or maybe you have ridden with us and you had an amazing ride and now you're looking for your rebound ride. What does that look like? Or maybe you're new to us, to Globetrotting. You've sort of seen us on the periphery, but you're not sure whether to trust us, where the integrity lies in our business. We're based in Australia, but we're a global business, and we have, Globetrotters all around the world. So this might help just put your mind at ease. And it's all about, to be honest, this session is all about just informing you and giving you really good information to make a good decision on how to choose the best riding holiday, dedicated to you, based on your ability, based on your budget, based on how much time you've got to spare, and based on the type of riding holiday that you want. All of those factors collide to try and find you the perfect riding holiday, because let's face it, holiday time is like gold dust. So you want to get the right riding holiday first, and to be honest, there's sometimes there's no bad decision, because all of our rides are amazing, but you don't want to be overskilled, underskilled. You don't want to be camping when you want luxury accommodation. So there's 5 questions that I like to go through clients, and we've actually made this amazing pop quiz, which is super fun, which I will put a link to that, but you can actually do this online on our website, and you can do it again and again. And it goes through a level of questions. The first thing is obviously riding ability. I mean, on our website, you'll see that all of our rides have the riding ability required to complete that ride. So we class our riding abilities in 4 different skill levels. So you've got your beginner rider. So I'll just go through them quickly, just so you can sort of place yourself on where you sit in terms of your ability. So beginner rider has ridden before. You can mount, you can dismount independently, you can walk, you can rise to the trot, and you're learning to canter. So I think that's really the key here, is that you're learning to canter. To be honest, if you do a riding holiday, if you're a beginner rider, if you're nervous or lacking confidence, a horse riding holiday is the best thing that you can possibly do to upskill, just because you get that sort of consistent time in the saddle, which is so cool, rather than doing the odd, flat work lesson once a week. You're going to be riding for 6 days on a very level-headed horse. You will realize by the end of it that you've nailed your canter, and you'll probably go up to intermediate level very easily. So that's the beginner. Now the intermediate rider is you're confident walk, trot, canter, but you may have been out of the saddle for a while. So you're returning to the saddle. You may have ridden, say, as a kid, but and just because of life circumstances, you haven't ridden for a while, and then you're taking it back up again. You may be a nervous rider. You may have had a fall. Or you just don't have that touch point with horses, and you're not able to get riding fit for your riding holiday. That to me is an intermediate rider. So you still can walk, trot, and canter, but you just have either been, you just aren't riding fit, so to speak. Now, the strong intermediate rider is our rider, again, that can walk, trot, canter in open terrain. So not in an arena, but in open terrain, but are riding regularly. So you either A, got your own horse, or you're riding regularly you know, having lessons or trail riding or things like that. That's your strong intermediate rider. So there's a big difference between that. Your strong intermediate rider, you know, is confident and riding fit. A lot of our guests will sign up for a ride as an intermediate rider, but then they train in the lead up to their ride, which is fantastic. And so then they end up becoming an intermediate rider prior to the departure date, which you can update your ability on our member portal if you do get to strong intermediate before the ride. That's so okay. To be honest, a note on riding ability is it's very good to underrate yourself, undersell yourself. I mean, you'll find that with a lot of good horse people, like people that have, you know, evented for their whole entire life and still probably call themselves a strong intermediate rider rather than an advanced rider. You're setting yourself up for success if you underrate your riding ability. Also, a shout out to our beautiful American Globetrotters. You know, if you've ridden in a Western saddle all your life and you're looking at some of our European rides, you have to be, you know, and you're considering yourself an intermediate or strong intermediate rider, the key for that is also that you're used to riding in an English saddle, because that can be quite daunting for our Western riders if they go to, say, Spain, France, Portugal. You're riding an English saddle, so you need to be confident in an English saddle, and that can just be a matter of you doing some lead up lessons prior to your departure date to make sure that you are confident in that English saddle. The other ability is our advanced riders. So they, again, very confident, walk, trot, canter, you know, light hand, soft seat, very happy at a gallop, very happy to canter downhill. These riders are either they compete, they're riding young horses, they're riding numerous horses, they've been riding all their life and still riding consistently. You know, they either play polo. I mean, advanced riders are the top of the tree. And the rides that we have for sort of your strong intermediate advanced riders, if you're listening to this, would be, say, our wilderness expedition in Iceland, more because of the number of hours in the saddle. Like you can get up to 8 to 9 hours in the saddle for the wilderness expedition. The other ride that comes to mind for our strong intermediate to advanced riders would be our Scottish Borders ride, specifically the May departures, but also predominantly all of the departures, if it hasn't already said beginner. And the reason for that is you will be fast-paced canter with over 200 other riders and possibly cantering downhill. Now, I feel like cantering downhill is probably the last thing that you master as a horse person, because you have to have a very good balance and a really good seat to be able to canter quite fast downhill. So that's only for strong intermediate to advanced riders. And if you're listening as that ability, as that skill set, you'll go, yes, that's exactly the rides that I want to do. The other rides for strong intermediate to advanced are African rides. So think Masai Mara, Kenya, where you have to be able to canter, fast-paced canter, 2-point, you know, across, you know, plains. The other one would be our Okavango Delta Botswana ride as well for our strong intermediate to advanced riders. Now, if you say you have a partner that's a beginner rider or a friend that's a beginner rider and you're an advanced rider, or vice versa, we do have rides, which you'll see on our ride page, that are multi-leveled. And what that means is for our beginner riders or our intermediate riders that don't have the confidence or are still finding their feet, they can go at a pace that they're happy with their guide. So they split into groups, yeah? So they don't feel as if they're holding the strong intermediate and advanced riders back, there'd be nothing worse. And I know I have a lot of my riders that say, Kate, I don't want to hold anyone back. That's why these rides are multi-leveled. The horses are happy to split into different groups. There's enough guides to split into different groups. So then our intermediate, our strong intermediate and our advanced riders still can have a really good trot, canter, change of pace. So everyone is happy. The horses are happy. You're happy. So, you know, please consider we've got quite a lot of multi-leveled rides. So all of our advanced riders, don't feel you can't book on a ride that has, you know, beginners as well, and vice versa. Beginners, don't feel as if you can't book on a ride that has advanced riders catered for as well. Our guides, as I said, they are very astute at being able to work around multi-levels, and you literally just split into smaller groups. So it works really well. So that's our ability. So that's the first question you have to ask, is where you fit in the ability. And then on our website, you can literally just filter according to ability. The next thing that's really important to ask is, how much time do you have? So if you're just looking for a mini break, if you've got, say, 7 days door to door, I wouldn't think that you would be looking at any international rides. Especially for Australians and our Kiwis, it takes a long time for a long haul flight. Yes, you could get to Australia and New Zealand vice versa if it's 7 days. But, you would be looking domestically. So again, for our US riders, for our Canadian riders, look within our rides in Wyoming, Montana, British Columbia, if you've only got that 7 days. Same with our European riders. I would, you guys are pretty flexible because countries are within, spitting distance of you. So you could look at some of our European rides. But again, they're only sort of, a lot of these rides are 7 days. For our Australians, we have since COVID adapted, and we never ever did shorter rides. We used to only do 5 days plus. We've adapted. We sort of listened to you, and you guys wanted something that was, under budget of $2,000. That was 3 days, 3 nights, like literally a mini break, a globetrotting fix that you can get, and then you'll be back in the office on a Monday. These rides have gone crazy, our 3-night, 3-day rides. So if you don't have much time, filter again according to, if you're not looking for an international ride, that you look within your doorstep, within your own backyard. I mean, obviously there's another level of COVID all in this. So everyone's travel comfort zone is different, and that's okay. And we will support you regardless. So if you feel that you're going to travel domestically, for the next 6-12 months, that's okay. We can find you a ride. If you're okay, to forward plan a ride to Iceland and, mid to end of 2021, then that's okay as well. We've also got, lots of very dynamic booking terms and conditions that we can move you to another departure date. If there's restrictions, we will just keep moving you, which is, you never lose your money whatsoever, which is really important as well. So time, 7 days, I would be sticking to somewhere within, your domestic, within, sort of a short flight or drive. If you've got more than 7 days, which is obviously the ultimate, if you are planning this as your main holiday for the year, for the next 5 years, if you're celebrating a birthday, if it's a significant ride and you've got more than 7 days, then fantastic. But honestly, it opens up a lot more rides for you. We always ask people to make sure that they fly in 2 days before their ride departure. So when you're budgeting on time, especially internationally, just for jet lag purposes, and you stay in the city before you get your transfer, and then you also get over jet lag, and if heaven forbid your bags don't arrive with all of your riding gear, it gives time for bags to catch up as well. So I would, if you've only doing the riding holiday, I would still buffer 2 days before the ride starts, and then and then fly home after that. Some of our, I like to call them pilgrimage rides, like rides that are long, like rides that you can really seep into the daily routine of riding and riding from A to B, like rides that are sort of 12, 14 days. Like you've got our Mongolian ride that's 19 days where you literally, lean into yourself, no technology. That's a fantastic ride. That's sort of like your pilgrimage ride. Your wilderness expedition ride in Iceland is also a significant ride. Any of those ones that take up to 10 days, they're the ones that you really will feel the benefits of tapping out, connecting with horses, connecting with faraway locations, and seeing the culture of that region. So ask yourself how much time you have, and that will you'll be able to again filter out what rides that you've got left. Now, what time of year you're looking at traveling, that's super important. You might be flexible. You may not have a time of year that you're restricted to, but a lot of our guests do, depending on work, depending on children, depending on farming. There's so many different levels. So if you can go any time of year, trust in the knowledge that all of the departure dates for that specific ride that you're looking at is riding at the optimal time of year for that ride. Does that make sense? So, for example, our Glenorchy backcountry ride runs from November to March. That is their summer season. That's the only time they can run their ride. They're not going to run the ride in winter. And they will specifically say, for example, when the wildflowers are at within that season. So don't feel as if you have to message us and say, well, what's the best time of year to ride in Portugal? We've already, the ride partner is going to ride in the best time of year. Okay, so that's super important. If you do have a specific like time of year that you can go, Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere, the time of year, see, a lot of our rides have a very, very minute season. Again, Iceland has a really minute season just because their summer is so short and you're not going to ride there in winter. Same with Mongolia. Africa is open pretty much all year round, which is lovely. Our Australian rides, it depends on where they're located. They'll be running either in winter because it's cooler or in summer. So it just depends. So the time of year is super important. And again, if you don't have any problem with the time of year, then you can literally, the sky's the limit. You can book a ride based on the best month to go. Like, for example, Africa, the Masai Mara, Kenya, you want to go between June through to July, August, September, because that's when the migration is running. I mean, ideal. So that's really important to know. Yeah, and that's actually the other thing is when you're looking at traveling, it's really important. You can plan in advance. I think it's a big thing for us. We really want our rides to be accessible and affordable. So we try and release departure dates super far in advance. Like, we've got departure dates on our website for 2022. This is so you can pay it off. Like, it's really important for us to be able to say, you know, this ride can be paid off. The benefit is you lock in the price at that price, because the rides generally will like incrementally increase each year. So you lock in the price. So it's that price. Say you book it at 2019 and you're not going until 2022, you're booking in a 2019 price. It's probably a 20% saving. And then you can just do our 10 by 10% payment plan, which is so popular. Again, this was, the silver linings out of COVID. We launched this 10 by 10% payment plan, and it's been a deal breaker for our Globetrotters. They love it. Or you can do the 5 by 20% payment plan. So that's also really important in terms of just being able to afford the rides and booking in early so you can pay it off over 18 months. Like, that's, very reasonable. The next really important question is what is your budget? And that sort of ties into the 10 by 10% payment plan. So are you on a budget? And again, if you're on a budget, then you're probably going to be looking at more of your domestic rides, which is fine. We've got some, again, for Australians and Kiwis, we've got rides that sit under $2,000. Again, the duration is a shorter ride. But if you don't have a budget, then yes, you can look at rides. Like our blue chip rides would have to be, again, Africa is blue chip. It's the X factor. You're riding with wild game, and then you're glamping. Like, everything is included, like the internal flight to get there. It's a next level. It's a ride that you have to do in your lifetime if you have that skill set. But if you're okay with the no frills riding, like rustic, but, still honest, if that makes sense, then you can look at Mongolia. You can look at Morocco. I mean, Morocco's phenomenal value. Our European rides, like I'm talking France, Portugal, Spain, are really well priced, especially if you're traveling on the US dollar. Like, they're very well priced, and they still have, really good food, and I must say the price will never reflect the level of horses. The horses are always going to be phenomenal, no matter what, in terms of welfare. Like, that's something we would never cut a corner on. Horse welfare is paramount, no matter if you're in a third world country or a first world country. So budget is a really important thing. And again, payment plans are there for you to lean into and to be able to book so far in advance. The other thing, which I think is probably one of the most important thing, is what sort of riding do you want to do? What fills your cup? What is something that you totally desire that will reset you and make you feel, and nourish your soul, I guess. So, we've got so many different types of rides. So we've got educational rides. So do you want to learn? Do you want to upskill when you're on a riding holiday? I mean, like we've got the Desert Brumby ride in Australia, and you literally spend 6 days learning to educate a Brumby that's 5 days out of the wild. Does that light you up? Does that excite you? Do you want to just learn when you're, an intensive learning experience? Spain, our dressage ride. Do you want to do high-level dressage on Andalusian horses? Does that light you up? Or if you're thinking, no way, I just want to be able to, drink wine at lunch and just, tiptoe through the most amazing natural landscapes, then look at our A to B rides, like Portugal, where you're riding from A to B each day. You've got a purpose. You get up and you're going to be riding into a completely different landscape. We call these our A to B rides or progressive rides, and they're wonderful in a sense that you are moving through the landscape constantly from A to B. It's sort of that real feeling of intrepid, exploratory, pioneering feeling because you're going to a new destination, a new campsite. That is fun, but that may not interest you. You may not want to pack up and unpack every day. You may want to be in a really nice accommodation house and you want to unpack and then you want to ride in the morning, and so you may not want to ride that afternoon. You may want to just go for a massage. You want the off the horse comforts. You want to be able to have a hot shower. You want to be able to sit at a table and have a beautiful dinner. That's okay too. I like both. Like I've done both and I like both. I like the A to B and I love the lodge-based rides too. So there's nothing wrong with that, and you can pick and choose depending on what you're feeling, how much time you've got, and budget. But those are things you need to consider. Again, you can search and filter on our website according to that, which is really good. The other thing is you might want to do cattle work. I mean, you may have always aspired to be what we'd call a jillaroo in Australia, or a cowgirl or a cowboy. You may want to learn to camp draft. You may want to learn to rope cattle up on the Wyoming bighorn. Like those are things that you can do. Choose those rides accordingly. Like that's a real experience to be able to tail and mob a cattle for 4 or 5 days, and then layered on that, that's an A to B ride. So you ride from A to B with the cattle. I mean, or do you want to ride on the beach? Have you always wanted to ride on the beach? I mean, it is phenomenal experience. So look for beach rides on our website. There's, these are the things that you have to consider. And then obviously your rustic first luxury. So that's sort of the level of, choices. So what is your riding ability? Be very frank with yourself. Look at our abilities. Don't overrate yourself. It's not worth it. And then that will filter rides down for you. And then obviously look at how much time you have. If you've only got 7 days, from when you finish work to when you have to start work, travel domestically. I really think that there's so many amazing rides on our doorstep. I feel like that would be, a win-win for you. If you've got over 7 days, then definitely travel overseas. That's, a must. Just as I said from the start, make sure you have 2 days prior to the ride starting. What time of year are you looking at traveling? So if you can only travel, say, June and July next year, then you're going to be looking at a lot of our Northern Hemisphere rides because it's summer. So you need to consider that. Yes, we do have rides that run all year round, but then there's some rides that only have a small window of time. So you need to factor that in as well. What is your budget? As I said, if it is limited, take advantage of our payment plan. Book quite far in advance so that you lock the price. And I mean, that's the tip of the day. And I don't think people realize that. But, if we have 2022 dates on our website, book it in now. Like that's such a 10% is all you have to pay. That's a deal breaker. Don't look at booking flights. Book your travel insurance. Don't book flights. And then just sit knowing that in 2022, you are going to have the most incredible adventure of your life, whether that be riding the Highlands in Scotland on an Irish sport horse, or jumping on a barb mare in Morocco and riding through the Sahara Desert. Like that is phenomenal. Or going to Iceland. These are these pilgrimage worthy rides. I sort of like that word at the moment because I really feel like I need one of these rides at the moment to to cleanse myself from the year that we've had. I feel like we've all got this collective exhaustion of COVID, and I feel that there is some light. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can feel that. And I feel that, you know, pre-COVID, post-COVID, globetrotting has always been the same. Heart and center, all of us are horse riders. We all get our strength and love and happiness and joy from horses. And then to layer on that, exploring phenomenal countries, you know, meeting different cultures from all over the world is my utopia. It is my happy place, and it is going to return with a vengeance. We will have limited saddle seats because our ride partners have moved everyone from 2020 onto 2021. They can only do so many certain departure dates, so that it is going to get sold out. And it will probably have a knock-on effect to 2022. And that's why I'm saying that, you know, it is worth, if you are sitting on the periphery, it is definitely worth booking 10% deposit and then just sitting there and waiting and turning that calendar of yours, our Globetrotting calendar, shameless plug, and having a phenomenal adventure planned on your horizon that will feed your soul no end, and you will meet the most amazing people you have ever met. I'm sure a lot of you are probably listening who have ridden with us, and you have made lifetime friends. So I think that I've covered everything. I hope, you know, this is literally just here to share to you so that you don't feel overwhelmed at choosing a riding holiday. And we make it super easy. So please message Laura or myself, and we can literally have a one-on-one conversation with you and go through the options. And at the end of that conversation, if you're still not comfortable booking, that's okay. Again, we're here. We've been here. We're here for the long run. We're just really excited about when the world opens up, when our wings aren't clipped, what that's going to look like. I think I've mentioned it before. I get so excited about it. We're looking at a very cool guided ride tour to Mongolia, India, Nepal, and a secret destination, which I'm not going to tell you, but literally clients will just have, like, they will book it and it will be mystery, and we'll be saying, you're going here. It's really cool. It's going to be called the Silk Road Tour. I think it'll sell out very quickly, but you know, our guided exploratory tours are so much fun. Next year we've got Africa, fingers crossed, planned for August. We've got the Bighorn Cattle Drive in Wyoming, which is, talk about a cattle experience like no other. And then we've got Italy. There's lots to look forward to, and we just are so grateful that to our Globetrotters and to our ride partners. So this will go up online. Yeah, I'm just getting messages from Tamsin and Dave. Yeah, the Silk Road Tour is going to be phenomenal. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. I hope that these sort of format is, you know, interesting for you, and that we can help. Thank you. Have a good Thursday, and we'll chat next week. Cheers. Bye.